Hey members! Yes, I survived another birthday, so glad to be alive. I I've had the blessing to be in contact with some old friends, and in conversation with Ramsey, he brought up that in America, I'm not sure if other places as well, FTMO have moved away from MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 and gone towards this DX trade. Now, for me, that's such an irresponsible move. I don't know what's happened behind the scenes, but it just looks like a teenager tried their hand at putting together a trade platform, and somehow FTMO decided to pair up with them. This is not good for many reasons, okay? And I'm not going to spend too much time here because I haven't done too much research in it, as I've been busy with other stuff, which I'm about to show you. However, the move away from MetaTrader 5 means that position sizing and other special tools that the community have developed so that FTMO is worthwhile engaging with is now no longer available. So in chatting with Brett as well, he says that the API for the developer section, because it's web-based, it's not necessarily open for the MTOPS order assistant, the MOA that we had created. And that's a major setback, of course, for, I'm not sure if it's everyone or if it's just those who are in America. So maybe you can give me a hand as to which way that's turned out to be. But if FTMO have limited their traders to the technology that, for example, MTOPS have created in terms of the position sizing, then the best thing to do is to drop them. There's no real affiliation with MTOPS and FTMO specifically. What I really liked about them was the ability for guys like yourselves to train on their demo site. But test trading and paper trading, testnet trading they call it, that all exists on the predominance of major exchanges. What I mean by that is Binance has got a testnet, I think Bybit's got a testnet, and I'm sure many other forex or prop firms will have a testnet as well. So I just really liked FTMO because they were a pioneer company in that space. To the best of my knowledge, I think they were the first prop firm to come through, and I support the originals. However, if they're making a short-sighted move as they have now, then drop them. Drop the losers, find someone different to trade with, and then obviously draw on the MTOPS tools. We'll just double check with Brett to make sure that the MOA works with the other prop firms as well, all the guys that can connect into MetaTrader 5. So, in having a quick look at this DXtrade overview, I mean, just the way that they've built this is super basic. In terms of not basic as in the layout, because it looks like quite a lot of noise and kind of I'm not a big fan of noise. I like simplicity, and it's just a whole bunch of unnecessary information on their primary screen, which isn't good. Another thing that isn't good is that it looks to me as if their position sizes are in the sizes of lots. So the volume size or lot size isn't necessarily the way that we like to do things in terms of having a correct trade plan, because if your aim is to make around about $500 a day, you can adjust your position sizes accordingly. But when it's a variable like that, it's quite difficult to work with in live trading conditions. For example, lots of volumes, that isn't necessarily going to be advantageous for your trade plan. So immediately I don't like that they don't have the fixed dollar amount that you can put in. It does look noisy, it does look overwhelming, it has a bunch of stuff I wouldn't put there, and although it might have some trading journal stuff, that's what FTMO had as well. So maybe there's some form of small basic improvement by going this direction. However, I personally am not a fan. I think this was a very bad move from their side, and I'm quite confused as to why they did that. So guys, we don't have a solution as yet. It's still very early days. I think this only went live from Monday. Brett is looking into the documentation to see if we can integrate the MTOPS auto assistant into this, although it would be perhaps just more simple to find a different prop firm to go with that isn't forcing the customers onto this overly irritating, you can hear about the enthusiasm in my voice. I don't really care about this DXtrade FTMO move. So find someone else to trade for. There are quite a number of options out there. We can just put here prop firm options. So trader, you guys can do your own research, one up. I haven't done too many deep dives into what's available now. FTMO was more than fine for a long period of time, but you guys can weigh the pros and cons in each of these providers. And I mean, that's just if you want to go prop firm, that's the way you would go about it. Or if you want to hang around with the crypto world, that's fine as well. If you don't want to get too complicated with the next level up in terms of working with stocks and indices and precious metals and such. It's just I'm just a bit disappointed and confused as to why they went this direction. So from our side, we're going to give them a little bit of time to get their back end sorted out, and perhaps we can integrate our software or our position size into DXtrading, but at the moment it doesn't seem like there is that option. Sounds like I'm going on to a loop and repeating the same information, so let's drop that. Just to give you guys a bit of an update of where I am, what I've been doing. So I've gone into deep isolation because isolation I find is a gift. You get into like the deepest rabbit holes, and I find that when taking on a new adventure, distractions can be quite expensive. So I have stepped away from doing daily market updates and tutoring and pretty much regurgitating the MTOPS strategy over and over and over. As I've said, like a lot of information's out on YouTube. There are tons of videos, there are tons of live market updates. So if you ever need more information, it's always there and available. However, by regurgitating the same information on the live market updates time and time again, it isn't conducive to my time, and it isn't too advantageous to your time as well, because you're just hearing the same information being humdrum back and forth. And the reason for that is because I have no desire to better or change. I have no desire to ever change the MTOP strategy, because there is the law of diminishing returns, and the more advanced you get on something that is pretty complex in a way, like once you got the groove of it, it's fine, but it's definitely a very unique style of strategy, and there are answers to all different conditions that happen to the market that exist within the strategy as well. However, it does take repetition and dedication and understanding and desire to win for it to work. So to add additional layers of complexity, like the astrology course and numerology, deep dives and that kind of stuff, and sacred geometric shapes like theory and that kind of stuff, I don't think that's going to provide functional results for guys who are operating in a day-to-day business or day-to-day trading environment. All you really need to know is, are you trading in trend, and all the other basic stuff that MTOPS has to offer. And of course, if you want to get super complex and want to be a high frequency trader, then all of that information can be tailored to that intense setup as well. So you can use MTOPS long term, or you can have it there with you in the battlefield minute after minute. However, I saw personally in mentoring a wide array of different people from different ages, different parts of the world. Also checking in with myself on how I am on the markets. And the more I interacted with private coaching and reviews and got into that mentorship role quite extensively, the more I got to see that humans are just by default complicated. And following the rules was the number one commonality, the number one denominator between everyone, including myself, of what was the demise to them not being profitable and as profitable as they could be, as often as they can be. And there was just that strong pattern there. So as much as I tried to ignore it, and I was optimistic about it and kept on pushing on and encouraging people and that whole matrix of everything I could give to better the lives of others, over and above giving them the secret to the market and all of my adaptations and advancements and angles and the creations of cube roots and the finding out how to apply spherical understanding from a geometric perspective and scaling that correctly into the framework of time series forecasting, etc., etc., etc. Like it was very layered, very intense, tons of value, tons of different angles, tons of pioneering thinking, and of course then we got into the psychology of it, and all in all it became quite a lot for someone who didn't have the time, the focus and dedication, which there's a lot of people who are trying to metamorphosize out of the old life into the new life. Like if you're still living in the humdrum of a day job and other responsibilities, or if you're a business owner, anyone who's got a customer or answers to a customer somehow is a slave to the system. And trading the markets, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of discipline, and I know discipline is just a word, but being in the trenches, discipline's like a big deal. Like you've got to really have that, and it's not easy to get that. There's the emotional side, the psychological side, it's past trauma, your beliefs about money, it's about what you're like at the peak when you're profitable. Like are you greedy, do you want more? Are you like at the bottom when you've lost? Like it's just this entire complex human mess that I started to see more and more and more in myself, of course. There's no pointing fingers, but in everyone that I'd been dealing with, and everyone in their own unique way was suffering this underbelly. So I then obviously discovered this AI revolution, and back when there was ChatGPT 3.0, ChatGPT's been around for a while. There was GPT 1, ChatGPT 2, of course, but it was really ChatGPT 3 that caught my attention and made me believe that there is a way in which technology can actually understand what's going on. And I never believed it until ChatGPT 3 came through. So when working with that, I've gone through the hard yards. I've tried various models, various neural networks, various specialized neural networks, more generalized neural networks, more like algorithms, models, and along the way I kind of saw how derelict the finance industry was from a machine learning perspective, because the models in which they had created and employed and the strategies and algorithms, like everyone knows that the bots and the algorithms weren't providing results in any case. Like many people overcommitted on the algorithms and lost. There was a lot of high frequency trades and laddering in and pyramids and all the bunch of weird things that were going on. like it would constantly like lose money whilst price would change, and then just hopefully when it turns around again you can land up in profits. But the exchange fees and everything wasn't a good idea. So none of these models that I wrote code on and tested could come close to the mind that MTOPS would need. We've got time forecasting, we've got price forecasting, we've got current state, we've got near look back, we've got the look forward environment at once, and all of this needs to happen within context of the MTOP strategy, which is proven to work time and time again. If ever you doubt it, go to my trading view page, go to the YouTube videos. You've seen I've forecast the future of price action before it happened, time and time again, with high accuracy down to the minute. So basically, the machine learning journey has really been disheartening from my lifting the veil or walking into like the basement of what the algorithm and the models that the financial industry have used to train their kind of concepts of when to buy and when not to buy. And it's been pretty disappointing. I got to say that I'm super grateful that I first learned how to master my domain. So that's to come to the MTOP strategy and use that enough times to realize that it doesn't need to be advanced. So it's as good as I would ever need it to be. And then I ran that again and again and again, and obviously spent time with people to see the flaws in what it's like for a human to trade. But now I'm using the MTOP strategy, skipping over the human pitfall or downfall element of it. I mean, the strategy works. There's no question about that. And yeah, I'm happy to prove it 100 times. I've proved it over the years. So the strategy is cutting edge. However, I needed to bypass my own emotions, my own tide levels, my own distractions, my own greed, my own fear, and in doing that, be able to do that for others. And it's been very difficult, guys. Like, I've really struggled with the models that are available, and as soon as I got comfortable with the idea of something working, I just saw with the MTOP strategy as a whole, it wouldn't achieve the full strategy. So I've gone about and started building what the coding world calls ensembles. So having multiple models working together at the same time and watching information happen, and then adjusting to that. And then as I've gone to a certain like ceiling, I realized it's not enough. So I've had to push forward. That's not enough. I've had to push forward. And it's been really, really, really tough. I don't wish that experience on anyone, because the mathematics involved, the amount of going back and changing certain environments. And for anyone who's coded, you know how tough it is. Like, if you put a caps lock in the wrong place, or a space in the wrong place, or the syntax error, or you don't close the brackets with the comma, or just you quote the wrong thing, or you get the shape of an array wrong, the whole thing comes to a halt, and you got to debug and you make sure everything works together, and what you're doing at the top of the code's got to work well with the bottom of the code. And because I'm pioneering this, the way in which the current neural networks are able to think into the MTOPS model, there isn't a lot of documentation out there that's been just like plug and play. I've had to customize, I've had to advance, I've had to stress test, I've had to go back, I've had to sit on what would be a simple problem for like 3 weeks, and so on and so on. So it's been brutal, so difficult. However, now that I've gone through that marathon for many months, I've got some form of visualization on my AI that's producing results. So what I'm saying is that the current model that I've got is thinking, it is running, and my imposter syndrome has kind of dissolved, because it is evidence that you can go from zero to hero, go from absolute not knowing what coding software to use, what language to code in, how to write code or anything like that. You can go from scratch, from zero to training a super advanced AI model within months. That's the day and age we live in right now. And of course, it took a lot out of me, and persistence, and just my unique signature on how I like really attack problems. But we've got some results now. Where I am right now, I'll tell you after I show you where we are. Okay. So this is just a very basic. You can see all the server stuff happening over here. This is just a very basic chart that I've brought up, or I've configured. Now you can tell by all the information that's happening on the back end that this here is what is seemingly simple. It looks like it's just a plot diagram, but it is so packed with complexity. Just to get the information to interact from the browser onto the code, and that server communication and having it like respond to what you need has been insanely, frustratingly tough. I took for granted what Emil was doing on MTS, because luckily for him, he had 15 years of experience behind him. So all the things that my teething problems orientated around, I'm sure like he's forgotten. That's like the problems I was running into was kind of like him like brushing his teeth. Like he learned how to brush his teeth when he was a kid. He forgot how he learned how to do it. He just knows how to do it. So this is basically easy stuff for him. But for someone just getting into visualization of an interactive price chart in your browser, it was pretty difficult. So that's the thing that I sat on for like 3 weeks, just trying to get things going. And you won't believe how frustratingly irritating time is. Now the cop out is just to use UTC or GMT, and that's obviously in line with the 0000 time, and that's how all of the Binance and all of those data providing setups come out as. And then you've got to do the daylight saving adjustments, and there's the time of year obviously is relevant to the time of what the daylight saving difference is, and then trying to make everything New York time, and then moving that out of daytime, which is readable to like the users like us, and then put that into Unix code, which is like in seconds, starting from the 1st January 1970, and that's how a machine reads the code. It's in a string of numbers instead of like date, time, month with breaks in between. So yeah, that's just kind of to give you a bit of an understanding of what's been going on behind the scenes. I haven't been complacent. I haven't been not operating at an extremely complex level. But all of that has got us to right now, which is the visualization of this is the raw data that I've got. All of the turning points have been laid down by hand by me, which just took in itself like 8 days straight, just setting everything to make sure that the machines knew what was a good looking data set, right? So now that I've got that, instead of operating on like a click callback, I'm just going to simply just keep this a little bit simple, because just getting the click-based callback was quite a nightmare because of the time conversions and all of the integration. So I'm just going to put in just like a random number here in terms of where that number sits within the database, and it's going to give us a prediction based on that. So as I click on it, you'll see it'll say updating up there. Okay, it's done. And it's given us the price prediction, forecasting of where it wants to go to next. So you can't really see, and I'm still working on the scaling correctly, because once you're working with fixed database environments, it has to reload every single time. But if you can't really see there, but there is a down arrow that landed up over here. So I put in the index number, which is 6969. So in the code, I mean the data frame, that's where the 6,969th row would land. And it's saying there that price is going down. There's a downward arrow. So it came up from a high and now it's traveling in a downward way. And it's moving towards the next low. Now, what you're seeing here is this dotted line that would be, which is the forecast of where it suggests the next turning point will land. And that's overshot. That's almost reaching to the following low instead of the near low. So that's where I am right now, is taking the model to its current available complexity and how it's able to forecast given this data, and introducing new levels of complexity to make it smarter. So right now it's doing okay, but I don't want to release okay, and I definitely don't want to give other people access to okay, because you're dealing with money, right? And okay is where people learn how to hate you because you don't want to be losing money because of okay. You want to be making money because of excellent. So I'm having to refactor the model to bring in a deeper understanding of the MTOPS mechanism. So until now, it's been shaping the brain of the AI, watching it develop into like the spinal cord, and then it's able to like see and move like a baby and produce results. But where it is right now, it's still a toddler in terms of maybe approaching maybe a teenage almost. I don't know. We'll see. But it's pretty developed. It's working. It's thinking. The results are showing up on the chart. And over here, what I didn't mention over here is that it's saying that the price is moving down to 20.4. So it understands MTOPS to a certain degree, but it's forecasting in terms of when the next low will be. As you can see over here, for example, is a low too far forward. And I don't want to have an open position and then see price potentially come back and take up a stop loss and then it go to where it says it was going to go, because then it's unnecessary losses and then we're back to square one in terms of being frustrated and all that kind of thing. So that's just a very unstructured update of where I am right now. And no, I haven't disappeared into the distance. Yes, I have been hard at work. I have been absolutely blessed by the universe, by God, by angels, and by the person themselves to have someone who's believed in this project, which has been able to keep me afloat in this. And I'm ever so grateful, so grateful to have the opportunity to deep dive into my full potential. And I can tell you right now, I don't have much more to give than getting involved with the operation at this level, as it's super taxing and super it's crazy, guys. It's just crazy. And I'm so glad I didn't know how difficult it would be up front, because then maybe I'd still be doing market updates and hanging out with everyone on Zoom every day. But I'm really grateful that I just jumped headfirst into the deep end and then learned how to swim in the deep end, made my way back to the steps of the shallow end of the pool. And now basically to advance the model to take it to the next phase. Yeah, which I'm excited about, but oh my gosh, I now know what the pool is like, and I'm jumping back into the deep end to make this happen and really bring in the next era of financial market forecasting done in an AI format. And obviously I kind of dabble around to see what else is available, to see what other guys are doing, but then I quickly lose my interest because I can tell almost near immediately how off the mark these guys are. And so pioneering is difficult. It's not only lonely because it's just me out there, and maybe I'm just a perfectionist like that, because I'm such a purist and I'm so dedicated to the domain. And Emil and I had like conflicts of design ideas and that kind of stuff, and through my experience, which I'm super grateful, I met Emil and built the software with him. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of what I'm like. I learned a lot of what the challenges are like from a conceptual perspective, and I have, because of that, just decided to go at this on my own. And the imposter syndrome feeling has reduced quite a lot because my AI is making predictions, and it's making pretty decent predictions as is. And I'm able to work with the framework of visualizing it onto a web browser and have it speak and interact with the server on the back end, which in itself is pretty much like multiple teams, multiple careers, multiple years of learning these subjects to be able to do that. Yet I've done it. It's being done. It's not a promise. It's not a far-fetched idea. I'm doing it. It's happening. But now it's about taking it into something that we can deploy, and to get it deployed out onto the world and live market conditions there's like phase 3 stuff, because the adaptation to live market conditions with the volatility of information coming in and having the loop of the model just reiterating what's happening, and then putting that into phase 4 level stuff, which will be my ideal setup for your trade environment. So that's position of account, position sizes, frequency of trade, holding out for certain conditions to close a trade, obviously waiting for it to get out of a kill zone to open a trade. So there's these phases that lay ahead, which are all complex. Like nothing is simple. Nothing is simple. If you make a change, you got to consider the other 800 lines of code, which is just my source model that I've created worth of adjustment that needs to be considered. And that's before advancing it into live market conditions, utilizing other frameworks and making sure that that framework is going to be sustain the demand of having this thinking processing on it, and so on. So although it looks very simple and very basic, just to get to this point, and the amount of months that I've been slogging away at this it hasn't been simple, it hasn't been easy, but man, is it worth it. So that's where things are right now, guys. Going back to the FTMO thing, drop the losers if they aren't going to up the game and take care of you, which means that position sizing, super important. Opening up a position with the preset stop loss immediately, super important, because again, a scam could clean your account, and these idiots are not protecting the users. They just want to make their money, which is in contrast to you making your money. The more you lose, the more they win. So they don't really want to have your back. They pretend they do, but from a strictly profit to like a balance sheet environment, the more you win, the less they win. So don't expect them to have your back, and that's why I've done my best to try have your back. So if they aren't willing to allow the developer API to come in where we can modify the position opening calculator, then I'd say sayonara FTMO, head into other avenues. There are a ton of different options out there. Just do a bit of research and trial and error with each of them before moving forward. And if you have any great suggestions, please share it with the MTOPS community. And yeah, guys, I'm going to continue slogging away at the advancements of MTOPS AI. The other thing I want to say is that in the morning, I go out and align myself with the jungle and with the water and with everything that is so beautiful and natural from that area. And if I do start sharing my kind of lessons from the jungle, lessons from life, that's the reason. It's because I'm just getting like divinely guided with this really beautiful information. And you guys have been with me for such a long period of time, so I do feel I can be open and vulnerable and pretty cool with you. So I'm going to share that more than I would market updates or the price of Bitcoin or whatever else I used to be kind of orientated around. So right now, all about spirituality, about prospering forward, and getting the automation of MTOPS up and running as best as possible. And the teaching, the videos, the one-on-one stuff is a part of a path that got me to this point. However, the trade talk won't be too markets orientated. It will be more towards this next evolution of where I'm in. But always feel free to talk about the trades, about the markets and that kind of stuff. I'm not sure what's happening over at Emil's Discord. I'm not too interested in what's happening there, to be quite frank. And I'm moving forward obviously in this direction, but it's not to say that if you guys do want to chat about different solutions, different prop firms, different hot tips that you've got, different markets that are working for you, the platform is there. Discord, I've got like tons of rooms in there, and yeah, maybe it's time to come together as a community once again. So that's it from my side. I hope you've made it to the end of this long unstructured ramble, but if that is the case, then much love from my side. You're amazing, and here's to a very, very cool year. I mean, there's so much I can say about 2024 itself. It's going to be struggles, but I think if you look at the metamorphosis of a butterfly, it starts off as a caterpillar, and then it gets into that void section, that cocoon. So that's where we are right now as a civilization, and we need to metamorphosize. Otherwise, it's just going to be the stagnant rubbish that we always used to know. And I, for one, don't like moving backwards, and I'm also tired of what was. So let's together as a community move forward through 2024 with its up and downs, and trust me, it's going to be ups and downs. And yeah, I look forward to us using this as a benchmark for my next birthday, which will be in 2025. Ciao for now, guys. Chat to you soon.